So many of you have asked me about collecting green seed. I thought I'd cover that for you. Most of the time with zinnias, you wait until the end of the season, you let the flowers dry out, turn brown, and then you collect the seed. With green seed, you can collect the seed before the end of the season, so you can actually get another planting, another generation of your flowers going before the end of the season. So I'm here at my apiary, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach in under, I'm just going to remove my block, reach in up underneath so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just going to cut this flower that's well done. You can see it's a darker color and lighter on the inside. This one, not all of these will have matured yet, but all of these out here should be good enough for harvesting. Now this plant is suffering from a little bit of powdery mildew, but I wanted to show you the outside layer of a flower. The most outside row of petals is going to be the oldest. And when I pull them off, I'm looking for mature fat seed that would have been pollinated. If you look at these seeds, you can see they're a little bit grayish. They're not a light bright green like the color of the stem. These are a little bit grayish and they have white tips. Also, I don't know if you can see this from the side very well, from the edge, there's no thickness to it. I can easily bend it. See how easily that bends? There's no embryo in here to prevent that. That means this seed is not ripe, and all four of these are in the same boat. So as I go around the flower, I'm checking my first row of seed, and these are all flat, flat, flat. But if you look at this one, can you see the difference between the two? Here. This one has a very light ridge. It's much narrower. It's flatter. This one you can tell has some thickness to it. Can you see that? It's sort of fatter in the middle. If I turn these to the sides, you'll see maybe, if I put my finger behind there, you can see that this seed right here I'm wiggling is a little bit fatter, and this one's very flat. This one bends very easily. Bend, bend, bend. This one's not going to bend. It's going to bend above the seed. So this seed is not ready. This seed is close. You can see how it's much greener. The tip is still pretty light, but it's getting some thickness to it. So it may be okay. I'm going to just take off that petal and save it. But this one's definitely ready. These two I can plant. These are green seeds. So when it comes to planting green seed, this green seed coat is completely impermeable to water. Water cannot get through it to get that embryo wet, to get it started and know that it needs to grow. So what you have to do with the green seed, I'm going to demonstrate on one that isn't ready yet. What I would do with this, remove the petal, and then if this had a big fat embryo in it, I would simply use my fingernails or a little clipper or something, and I would just tear open, just gently tear open this little side wing area here, this little edge. Can you see how I've pulled that open? Now, if this had an embryo in it, I would be able to see it, but there's no embryo in there. This allows the water to go through, and I would plant it just like this. I would put it in soil, cover it up like I would plant any seed, water it in well, and if it's willing and able, if it were willing and able, it would grow. In about 5 to 10 days, it will sprout. So what I would continue to do is to go around the flower looking for the most viable seed. This one's much greener than these here. So I'm going to save this one, set it aside. And I just go around the outer row first because that's where I'm most likely to run into viable seed because they're the oldest. A lot of these aren't pollinated because I didn't have pollinators when these were in bloom. So usually you think of the outside layer as having the most that have been pollinated, but because it was a little later before I got pollinators, it may be that as I go up a little bit more, yeah, these guys have a better chance of being pollinated, potentially. But that's it. That's what you do for green seed. You're just collecting the mature seed. See if we have any more in here. Oh, there's another one. The only reason these are not mature, they've had the time, but they just didn't get pollinated. But that one did.